Welcome, Capricorn, to your Capricorn September 2021 reading and forecast. I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and to the subscribers. Well, it's great to see you. My love and affection to you always. And of course, I've done readings for some of you in the course of the last month, haven't I, from different parts of the world. And if you would like to have a one-on-one reading with me, just check out the information in the description box below. And it could be from anywhere in the world. Now, we're going to take 5 cards, because 5 is all we need. Because they are jam-packed full of information, aren't they? And what with the astrology, the numerology, the mystical energy behind them, the suits and their position on the reading table, they always tell us precisely what's going on. So let's see what there is here first. The 10 of Discs. Great. The Green Man. The 8 of Swords. The Green Man, well, obviously the terminology in this deck is different to that which we would obviously normally encounter, but that doesn't matter. There's the 7 of Cups. This is a good set of cards for you. Very interesting month coming through here for you, I must say. And, well, I'm not going to give anything away now, because this final card will be the Server of Wands. That is the icing on the cake. Now, why don't you come sit over here next to me and have a look at the artwork on these cards together with me while I do the reading for you. Then now, can you see what an extremely interesting and fortuitous, auspicious set of cards for you? Let's look at this 10 of Discs first up, shall we? Well, let's have a look. Now, this is a really good card for you, you know. This month, I think it really is. Why? It's because it is Mercury ruling the 3rd decan of Virgo, the 13th to the 22nd of September. Now, Mercury rules and is also exalted in Virgo. So you'll have the good communication skills from Mercury and good organizational ability from Virgo. So there is success and abundance with this card. Inner and outer richness, ability to make inner wealth visible and to share it with others. Now, the eagle has tremendous range, doesn't it? It can soar to great heights and then swoop down to earth to catch its next meal. It thus is the perfect symbol for the both and nature of engaging fully in the details of daily life and keeping a higher perspective, I think. That's what it's about also for you, is a higher perspective. Now, I think what this energy does is it challenges the notion that in order not to be entrapped by or lost in the world, you must constantly hover above it. The eagle is not some mythical being that lives in the heavens, but it is a bird of prey whose existence is dependent on its ability to grab onto other physical things and nourish itself. This doesn't shackle the eagle to the ground, scrapping around for food, because it is efficient in hunting and meeting its material needs. The eagle can also soar upwards towards the sun. I think this card reminds you that you can do the same. You can engage fully on the earth plane and still ascend to the source. Now let's have a closer look at this again, because the art tells me something more here. Well, I guess all of what I've just said is depicted on this card. The 2 smaller birds represent engagement in the activities of ordinary life, while the larger bird represents holding to a higher perspective, what the Tibetans call the Great View. It is piercing through the world of form and recognizing that which does not die. Now, a person or organization with this perspective is also able to function effectively on the material plane, while at the same time staying true to spiritual values. Many are doing this in the realm of business, creating businesses that serve the planet and promote spiritual values, yet they are still financially successful, and they support the people they employ. Bringing your spirituality into the marketplace doesn't have to mean diluting what you cherish most. It can mean embodying and materializing. This card is about material success. Here, you combine that with holding a higher view. It is a view that goes beyond narrowly defined self-interest to include the well-being of others. A view that helps you keep perspective on your life and not get lost in the details, a kind of seeing that allows you to recognize the spiritual essence that transcends, yet makes up all of life. It is a good time now for you to explore your own range. Which part of the both and do you need to strengthen? Keeping the higher view or zeroing in on the concrete details? Perhaps you want to strengthen both. It is the full range that makes the eagle so powerful. But this card is saying to you that things are going to move along now, that there are seeds here for financial and material improvement. Well, where shall we go next? Well, I think we may as well go to the card that's touching it diagonally, which is this card here, the Eight of Swords. These two cards down here, incidentally, I think they might be people involved in your life, or people with whom you're having dealings. Anyway, we'll get to those in just a moment. That's just a feeling that I'm getting up from it. Let's have a look at this one, though, and see what it is saying here. Well, very interesting, this. This card, I think, shows an old Islamic pattern of dovetailing forms that represents how expansion and contraction come together to make something. The interior forms each have 8 points, and there are 8 beams of light coming from the center. There is a temple in the hills under a night sky, and the scene itself has a restful quality. Now, astrologically, there's some interesting things going on with it. It is Jupiter coming in to rule the first decan of Gemini, that 21st to the 31st of May. Well, Jupiter, as you know, is the ruler of Sagittarius, and on the horoscope wheel, Gemini is 180 degrees away from Sagittarius, so Jupiter needs to travel into Gemini, opposite where it normally lives, and it is therefore in detriment. So Jupiter is weakened, and the inquisitive nature of Gemini further inhibits Jupiter. And a weakened Jupiter, I think, means that maybe you can't get what you want all the time due to too many, as the Gemini aspect, distractions, which may or may not be self-created. Just looking at this picture again here, in this 8. The number 8 here, incidentally, I have with Mercury, and Mercury is also the ruler of Gemini, so that scattered influence is very strong here, you know. Now, in sacred geometry, the octagon, the 8-sided thing, portrays evenness and stability. Now, in the mental realm, this comes in part from calmness and composure, which provides the stability of not being thrown off center. Any strong judgment or emotional reaction can create a kind of static that interferes with the clarity of perception and evenness in the mind and the emotional body. That's Gemini working away here. Now, calmness and composure, which is a real Jupiter trait, is the result of not getting caught in these judgments and reactions. It is the evenness that comes when you neither reject nor cling to the various mental and emotional states that may arise. Now, Very often you can get the feeling around here of mental contraction, fear, resentment, envy, and doubt. They all involve contraction, don't they, in some form when you think about it? If you are sensitive enough, you may notice their effect in your body. Other times you may recognize contraction only after it has released and you find yourself in a state that is more restful, free, and expansive. Well, I think you should accept contraction as part of life and the cultivation of calmness and composure to help you deal with uncomfortable states. Calmness and composure are that state is not an enforced evenness created by flattening out your emotions, nor is it a blurring of perceptions. With calmness and composure, you're aware of your internal distress, but don't react to it as much because you have an evenness inside. Now, it may be a point here where you feel that no matter where you turn, no satisfactory solution seems to exist, but there is one. And the more you try to unravel the tangled ball of yarn, the tighter the knots seem to become. But you know what you should do if this happens? Let things rest and develop on their own for a while. As long as doubt concerning any decisions remains, don't go for anything new. Jupiter, who is here, is the harbinger, the announcer of unforeseen and unexpected change for the better. The problem, which might seem insolvable now, will find its own solution in its own way. And really you should ask yourself the question of what alternatives are you torn between now? Relax and let things develop. Let Jupiter come in and do its work, because it will do. So you should say to yourself, I am relaxed and I trust life. Now, where are we going to go? I want to have a look at this card, which is this Seven of Cups here. What does it say in between? Oh, Drama Queen. Well, Drama Queen indeed. What can I say about that? You see, I thought it could be somebody that's in your life, as well as this person down here. Now, first of all, I think that this painting, the image in the painting, is a spin-off of the fairy tale Snow White. Are you familiar with that? When the queen is not mirrored in the way she wants, she becomes murderously jealous. This is, of course, an extreme reaction that comes with the mistaken feeling that the only way to be loved and admired is to be the best. The drama queen does not know that she is enough, and she is, and that she can be loved in her faults and in her frailties. Now, the feelings that I'm getting about this result from the planetary influences of Venus in the third decan of Scorpio, that 13th to the 22nd of November. Well, Venus, as you would know, is by and large the planet of love, and Scorpio is all about intensity, about in-depth transformation and exploration of the self and others. Now, mystically, I have an association with the planet Venus in the number 7 here as well. So, Venus doesn't have any handbrake applied here. She goes about her work unchecked. And the other thing is, of course, is that Venus is in detriment when it's in Scorpio, so she can't express her sensitivity and her emotions properly. Instead, they can be channeled into negative addictions and also into intensity, which is the darker side of Scorpio. And it implies that there can be an excess reactive behavior due very often to something that has affected someone deeply and changed them in a way which throws up its own set of problematic issues, behaviors, and ways of looking at themselves and the world. Now, in the Suit of Cups, we generally look at strategies used to try to get our emotional needs met. This Seven of Cups, I think here, let's have a look at it again. This image is very beguiling. I think this 7 is about dramatization, making things larger than life. There is, I suppose, or this is, I suppose, the hysterical clinging strategy. The hysterical part is the amplifying of emotion, and the clinging is the underlying desire to avoid separation. Now, although hysterical is generally considered a bad word, there's nothing wrong with being expressive or flamboyant. The problem arises when we must get theatrical in order to be seen or heard. Indeed, this is a part of the genesis of this hysterical clinging strategy, I suppose. When you know you are loved and accepted as you are, you don't need to put on anything extra. And when we get dramatic, it is often like a child pleading, "Don't leave, stay here and watch me." We want something to be seen and mirrored. Now, part of the healing in this case, I think, with this type of activity, is to be a compassionate witness. And if this is happening with you, you can notice what you're wanting and hold this in a loving way. You can also learn to be more straightforward, to ask for what you want without having to whip up your feelings or exaggerate your needs. Now, this popular saying, drama queen, is really a good description for somebody who does this hysterical clinging type of activity, isn't it? Because it reflects a desire to be treated really in a special way, don't they? Perhaps to feel important. One way people can feel bigger than others is to make their drama bigger. If what is happening is bad, it is the most tragic anyone could experience. And if good, it is the most wonderful thing imaginable. There's nothing ordinary for or about the drama queen, except the underlying needs, which we all need. Now, for yourself, you might ask yourself, is there some disappointment you have not yet worked out? Have you experienced something which was maybe just a little too good? Have you overtaxed yourself or done things in any way which wears you out? But whether that is the case or not, say this to yourself during this month. As I recognize and accept my shadows, they lose their power over me. Well, shall we have a look at this person down here? There's also energy coming up here for you as well. Now, interestingly, I'm getting a lot of Leo, a lot of Virgo, and a lot of Cancer around here. So you might find that you have much to do with them during this period. Now, this is the Server of Wands, and what's the headline on it? Transmitter of Light. Well, we shall see. We shall see. What is the energy that's coming through? Well, first of all, in the painting, a butterfly fairy, or actually more, do you know in Hindu tradition, there are spiritual beings called devas, which are the equivalent, I suppose, of what in Western tradition might be called angels. Anyway, this center of consciousness, as I would put it, looks radiant and expansive. Now she, like all of nature, is letting her essence shine. The water in the foreground represents the purifying capacity of those who can consciously transform consciousness. Now, devas, incidentally, are great reminders of the interconnectedness of life. Although they inform the world of form, they are not limited to it. So that is to say, although they can have an effect in the material life that we have, they are not limited to material life, but they operate from a more collective consciousness. Now, within this larger sea of consciousness, everything that you say, everything you do, everything you feel has an effect, whether cutting others off in traffic or bringing a smile to somebody's face. The butterfly fairy or deva here encourages you to bring a light and loving energy to the world by bringing this energy into your everyday interactions in life. Now, this energy here, I think, also is about helping. This energy is a reminder that we not only assist each other physically, emotionally, and mentally, but we can also assist each other spiritually. This is primarily a matter of the consciousness we cultivate. By being in our light, this supports others' light and helps raise the overall vibration. It is another way of ministering to the planet. Now, just as the butterfly goes from flower to flower, spreading pollen, well, you collect and spread energy during each interaction you experience in a day. It might be grumpy energy, it might be frustrated energy, it might be light and happy energy, or the energy of generosity or kindness. I think what this card is inviting you to do is to become more aware of your energy field and what you spread around. It represents taking responsibility for broadcasting energy that may be helpful and containing or neutralizing energy that may have a more poisonous effect. You can reinforce the positive energy of others by mirroring it and help neutralize their negativity by holding it with such spaciousness and compassion that the energy will just go and dissipate. You will, during this time, I think, also be somebody who is confident, daring, and exciting, perhaps a nonconformist, freedom-loving and ambitious. People are going to love your character and energy. And this is also about the conquering of old fears and patterns of thought. You've brought them to the surface and conquered them, although I think it has to be said that you have often learned lessons the hard way, haven't you? I think it's also the case, and you should be aware of this, that during this month, people are going to find you very sexually attractive. So do with that what you will. I'm sure you'll be able to manage it. Ask yourself, what is the next step in your life? Find it fearlessly. Learn about ways of transforming fearful feelings. Maybe get involved in some activity like dance or meditation or something, and say to yourself, my greatest strength is, and then fill in the blank. And also say this, as I accept, this is about transforming and defeating fear also, you know. So say, as I accept my fear, it is transformed into love. Well, I think that only leaves us with, we've done everything here, haven't we? Yeah. This guy, the Green Man, ruling in harmony with nature. Well, I'm getting an energy which is far more vibrant than ruling in harmony with nature than this. This is actually, look, this is the Emperor in the tarot deck. And this energy, this card represents the principle of power and leadership. It also represents what can be called father energy. But if you're a woman, don't be concerned about the term father energy. It's a strong energy, very often displayed by fathers. And that same energy you have, it's just on the other side of the coin. There are two sides to this coin. It is the same coin, so don't be put off. This energy applies to you. Now, the Green Man here Well, I think the Green Man, well, basically represents the intelligence of nature and bringing that knowledge to the human community, I suppose. The Green Man, I would say, leads not by lording power over others, but by encouraging others with a vision of the possible. He can empower others because he is secure in his own power, and so he's not easily threatened. He holds his authority lightly, and he leads by example rather than by command. The Green Man embodies really a sense of balance, insight, and confidence, as well, I would say, as will and the power to make and to do, because he is in charge of his feelings and ambitions rather than being run by them, and he knows his own weaknesses. He can avoid many of the shadow issues that often trip people up who are in positions of authority. This is a particularly auspicious energy and card for you, and the reason why I say that is because where it is positioned here, with that server there, and with this 10 of discs opposite, I've got to tell you that this is Aries being ruled by Mars with the Sun exalted. So you'll find that you might well be primarily concerned with power or control over other people or yourself. Now, this might be involved in nursing, it could be in sales, it could be in administration, it could be in teaching. Doesn't need to say you have to be a ruler, but these are the areas that you'll see it. You'll be involved in the exercise of power. Now, I have to say that people are going to see you as a natural leader and organizer, and you'll have great willpower and judgment, which has come about as a result of the life experiences which you've had to date. Certainly there's success through discipline and application here. Now, I think that status is going to be very important to you, as is material security and stability. And although the Green Man seems to be stable and everything, that's the impression that he gives off, I nevertheless think that it's possible that there could be points here where you become quite volatile and fiery. And I doubt, actually, that you are going to be passive, but I think you're going to be very active. This is a really good moment for change or a new beginning for you, so trust your own energy and move with it. What revitalization does your life need at the time? Are there steps that you would like to take towards this? Examine yourself critically, especially in regard to your relationships with subordinates, and say to yourself, I trust my power, I rule by serving, and I serve by ruling. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, what a fantastic month for you. Great to see you again, and thank you very much for watching. It's a pleasure to be doing this with you. I do like that, and if you did like it, please do me the favor of hitting the like button. The YouTube gods like that, and it enables other people to maybe have a look at the video and enjoy what we enjoy doing ourselves. This is going to be a good month for you. I think you've got plenty to be looking forward to and things to do. So that has been food for thought, and you get together and remember this, and remember one thing always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. So until then, it's bye for now.